Yo, so what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Quay Vision Podcast. I am your host, Quay, and I'm joined today. Welcome back, Fausto, man. So I brought Fausto back because we was getting a lot of really good feedback from the last conversation that we had on this podcast. And I know somebody like him has a lot of insight, and he's one of the heavy hitters out here navigating this world. So I'm glad to have you back, man, and welcome, and thank you for coming through, and I appreciate you taking the time out, man, because I know we some busy people.
That's right. And I appreciate you too, for having me back on. It's
course,
like, because I know you're really busy too. And I believe we all should surround ourselves with people who are on that same path because we need each other.
Absolutely.
Because, what I'm going through could be something you're going through, and you may have some insight or wisdom for me to get through this season, as well as hopefully I can do the same for you.
Man, it's one of just to kind of piggyback on that, is one thing that I've kind of learned about just navigating this whole entrepreneur space or just life in general, man. You need people. You just need, it doesn't necessarily have to be people that you work with or whatever, but you just kind of need that support system of people in your life that kind of just keep you grounded and just keep you understanding and realizing that life is a beautiful tool that you should not take advantage of, and just stop and smell the roses every once in a while and be in your own space and be happy, right? Because a lot of people, it's very simple to think about and it's simple to say, but a lot of people don't know what it truly means to just be happy.
It's true.
With you in your own space. So anyways, yeah, so let's get this going, man. So what are we talking about today, Fausto?
Well, I want to go off of what you just said too.
Okay, well, we just go on.
Yeah, I already felt it right now. I already got like a bunch of ideas. So you're saying how it's so important to have people right in your life.
Yes.
What are some of the downfalls that maybe you've had from past experiences, or that can happen if we don't have that support on this journey?
Well, some of the downfalls is basically just like when you're out here trying to navigate your space and trying to do whatever you are doing in life, you get to a point where you get so caught up in trying to get to whatever level that you're trying to get to that you start to forget and neglect the people that are so important to you, that are so close to you, that are here for you. And here's another thing, like I hate when people out here are like, oh yeah, I'm doing it for the haters, I'm trying to
right.
I'm trying to get out here and I'm trying to prove my haters wrong. It's
I'm gonna show them what's up.
Right.
Yeah.
But why not prove the people that love you and support you right? Why is it all about trying to prove people wrong? So when you get in that mentality of proving people wrong all the time, you start to become bitter in a sense, right? You start to become this person that's only out to get other people, when there's a sea of people that support you and love you. And if you just tap into that, you can go so much further because your why becomes so much bigger than just trying to prove somebody wrong. Now your why is to prove somebody right, which is, it sounds the same in a sense when you're trying to prove something wrong rather than prove somebody right. It sounds like it's the same thing, but it's different, because when you prove somebody right, and the joy that they get for you and the joy that you get for them, and it's just a really cool thing. So if you don't have that, well, I feel like everybody does have a support system, whether they like to believe it or not. So I just feel like when you start to navigate this life and you're trying to do something significant, you need that support system. You need those people in your space that can help you see what the ultimate goal is. You know what I mean?
And you just said that powerful word. If you want to do something significant.
Significant.
That's the thing, right? It's not just doing something good or something great. It's significant. John C. Maxwell says it. He goes, nothing in this world that's been out of significance has been done alone. And that's somebody that's 70 plus years old in the game, helping out people all around the world to work with people constantly. It's like, there's wisdom to that.
Absolutely.
And it shows history too of like the biggest things that happen in this world of change and impact, and it explains it's always a team.
It's always. It's one of those concepts that is embedded in us from a little kid, right? The moment we join a sports team, the moment we get in school and we have group projects, they're always trying to put us in these team atmospheres. When we get older, we kind of forget some of those things, right? Because we get this sense of pride that I want to do it myself.
Right.
Like, I want to be able to get to the highest level that I can get to and say that nobody did it but me.
Right.
And I guess it's cool to do that and say that, but is it?
I know, right?
Because like what's more cool is being able to get there and say that I brought these people with me, or we all did it together. You know what I'm saying? So tapping back into that whole team atmosphere and that teamwork and that mentality of just going out and doing something significant with someone or a group of people that care about you more than the goal that you're trying to get to, in a sense. So, but yeah, so like even for you, right? Because you've been to a point where you sobriety,
right?
You know, getting through sobriety, you can't do stuff like that alone.
No.
Speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, for anybody that's in recovery or from drugs and alcohol or anything, right? It could be relationships, it could be money, it can be sex, crime, whatever it is. It's like one of the biggest things we talk about is you can't do this alone. And a lot of people will challenge that. I'm different though. I can do this my way.
Yeah.
And every person that says they're going to do it their way, from my experience and over time, it fails. Because for us, our thinking's the problem. So if your thinking's a problem, how can a problem solve a problem? You need the solution. And so the solution exists outside of us through other people who have been where we've been and made it out on the other side. And so like all my success and my recovery on top of my entrepreneurship, the reality is it had nothing to do with just me. It was a team of people.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it could be people who are still with me till this day, or it can be people I had one conversation with because I was going through something. I said, hey, how'd you get through that? And they're like, X, Y, and Z. And because I trust that they're telling me the truth because they have what I want, I take action, then I see it work in my life, and then I pass that message on to the next person. So yeah, having people in your life for recovery is, for me, it's everything. Till this day, I talk to my sponsor, which is like a mentor, and you know, I call him all the time. I'm like, hey man, I'm losing my mind. What's going on? I'm doing everything right. And he goes, all right, tell me how your week looked like. And I go, I'm in school full time. I'm doing 17 groups a week for my business. I'm killing it. I'm working out. I'm doing ministry. I'm being a good person. Why am I so sad? He goes, it sounds like you're doing way too much. You're insane. I'm like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And he goes, dude, look at what you're doing. That's not realistic. And then, you know, of course I go, nah, I'm different.
Right.
A couple of weeks go by, call him, hey, you were right.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, and I feel like, cause we were talking right before we got on air, and one of the subjects that we were kind of wanting to talk about was burnout.
Yeah.
And that's a great segue to that, because like when people get to that point when they're just go, 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 in the moment, it seems like you're trying to do you're doing everything right. You're always working. You're always doing something positive, but at the same time, you're killing yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So you were sharing with me that like you had to get to a point of realization where you declined $30,000 because you had to get back to your mental health. Right. Speak to that.
Yeah. So, you know, like you said, the go, 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 right? And so it is entrepreneur lifestyle. You hear a lot of motivational events. You got to go, 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 you know?
Yeah.
So as I was doing that, yeah, I did. I went from making, you know, $50,000 a year to $108,000 a year in a 4-month span. So I was proud. I proved a false belief that I couldn't do it to be right. So I had good intentions of doing it, you know, and I didn't do nothing shady. I did it the right way.
Right.
But what happened was with burnout, I've learned it takes months to kick in. So you may be living a burnout lifestyle, but not notice it for months.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened. Months into it, I started to feel physically hurt. No matter how much sleep I got, no matter if I meditated, ate healthy, took a day off, I was physically tired. And so I knew something's wrong. And thank God I have people in my life to bounce these ideas. Hey, why am I feeling like this? And all my people were like, you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot. You're doing a lot. But I would try to justify, like, maybe if I sleep a little bit extra, maybe if I shut my phone off at a certain time, maybe if I meditate before I do a group. But then, you know, the reality hit me, and it was like, dude, I feel miserable, but I'm aware that it's not my job or my business that I'm hating all of a sudden because I don't want to do it. It was like, no, I'm mentally and emotionally and psychologically doing too much. And so I had to suck up my pride, give up $30,000 a year, and trust that I was making the right decision, and hoping that the people that I work with are not going to look at it as I'm weak or, you know, or I'm all talk, because my mind tells me that. A lot of me doing so much is out of people pleasing or trying to prove that if I become this, people will accept me, because that's always been my childhood wounds. So as I gave it up 4 days ago, the first 2 days were really hard. At first I was like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't do this. I made a mistake. What am I doing? Everything's going to fall apart. But people I talked to said, you made the right decision. And then I talked to my contracts. They all supported me. Even they said, dude, you're insane for trying to do all that. So I was like, oh, okay. So it's not just me. Even they said, go take a vacation. So as I heard all this confirmation through the conversation, it led to me having a revelation. And sure enough, I believe that sometimes you got to take a step back and then a blessing will come. And sure enough, after 4 days of doing that, I prayed at night. And I was like, all right, God, what do you want me to do now? Because I keep on getting in the way. And then I get a phone call the next morning about me being on another TV show randomly from somebody. I didn't expect this person to call me. I don't talk to this person. I was like, and they even told me, God told me to call you. I was like, wow.
The universe, man.
And so, yeah. So the universe, had my back, and and I feel so much more happier, relieved. And I'm starting to feel feelings of joy again and happiness and excitement, because when I'm burnt out, everybody sucks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everybody. And for me, sometimes I can think maybe these are not the right friends. Maybe it's not the right relationship. And then I'm like, wait, maybe I'm burnt out before I make any rash decisions.
And that's the thing about it, right? Because when we get to a point where we are either burnt out or just anything, we start making rash decisions on how we currently feel.
Right.
And not necessarily those decisions aren't necessarily based on what's actually happening. It's just what I feel inside.
Right.
I feel tired, so if I have a girlfriend or whatever, Stephanie, I feel tired, so you're annoying me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
You're annoying all of a sudden.
It's your fault now.
Like,
It's
what are you doing?
I'm burnt out. I'm doing all this work, and now you're just being in the way. Like you're adding to it, or you're the cause of it, so to speak. So you have to kind of come to that realization, or you're gonna mess up a lot of relationships.
Yeah,
right?
and it happens. And I love that you said that, how she could be irritating me, and you can start putting the blame on that person and create this whole concept of why it's happening. And the reality is, if you go, wait, this has nothing to do with you, it has everything to do with me.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: how do you do your best to avoid burnout?
I mean, that's a loaded question, right? Because it's like you said, it's like every time that you start to feel burnout, it never comes from a point where it's like a negative thing, because you're doing, like I said, when you're in the moment, you're doing what you think are all the right things. You're taking every job that comes. You're taking every opportunity that comes. You're helping as many people as you possibly can.
People are praising you too. Amazing work. Like,
man, and you're on this high, so you just keep working. And like you said, you get to a point where you keep working. A couple months pass, and you look back, it's just like, I have a wave of work now that I can't neglect, and I have to do that. So for me, it's pretty simple. Like, especially around this season, I go snowboarding a lot. Yeah, that's like my zen. I know a lot of people always. Somebody hit me up in the DMs the other day when I was snowboarding, like on a random weekday. I was like, "How are you snowboarding on a Tuesday afternoon? Like, what is like? Don't you like go to work? Like, what is going on? Like, don't you have client? Blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I needed this day from me, so I just woke up in the morning and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go snowboarding today." Despite all these edits and all these jobs that I have to complete and finish, that's going to be here when I come back. But for this next 3, 4, 5 hours, I'm going to go up here and enjoy myself. Zen, because I know I don't have these days of me to be able to enjoy this and do stuff like that are numbered, right? And that's what a lot of people don't realize. It's like, we feel like we're going to fucking live forever. It's not the case.
Nope.
It's not the case at all, right? So it's like, we can't get to a point where we start neglecting some of the things that we can do today because of a goal that we're trying to reach tomorrow. So, and I even have a lot of friends that's like, I'll invite snowboarding or do various things. Just like, oh, come, do this, that. It's like, oh, I don't have the money for it. I was like, is that true? Or are you trying to make enough excuse in your head to where you can't go out and enjoy yourself because you're going to feel guilty for spending money on yourself when you have all these other responsibilities? Right. For me, I always know that, like, whatever I'm going through, I'm going to be all right and I'm going to make it because I know what I'm doing is genuine. So if I decide to spend $1,000 on a snowboarding trip with my girlfriend out when I know I can't really afford it, I'm going to spend that money, come back and be like, oh, shit, I need to make some money now. And knowing that I'm going to flip that switch and get back into gear and start working hard, and that money is going to magically just start to come. Because every time, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but every time I go on a vacation, I'll get to a point where it's like, okay, This was much needed. I'm ready to get back to work. As soon as you get back, you won't even pick up your phone. Your phone just starts ringing. Yo, Quay, I need you for this. Yo, I need you for this. You're just like, whoa, what? This is amazing. So now you have a different mindset to go in and attack those jobs from a different perspective, and now you're having fun again.
That's right.
So you kind of need that. It's a cycle, right?
Yeah.
So you work. Okay, chill. Work. Okay, chill.
Right.
It's not just work, and you're gonna burn yourself out.
Yeah.
So
how do you balance your love life with your own life? Because I think because what I've seen from my own experience in the past relationships I've been in, at least, I know I've had mental breakdowns and questioning, can I even be in a relationship while I'm doing this? I've had that, right? I've also seen where like I would become so obsessed, right, with my goal and my purpose, and I start neglecting, and then I can try to justify like, well, but this is for us, right? Like I'm doing this for us. You got to remember that. But I know from working with people in my own life, like that's not true. You need to be able to, if you're in a relationship, you got to understand that it's going to take work, right? Love is not a feeling, it's an action.
Yes.
And we have to make quality time for our partner and be consistent with it. Because if not, then we can't expect them to stick around as we chase this goal.
You can't expect them to stick around. And it's honestly like, this is kind of funny because throughout me and Stephanie's relationship, and especially in the first year or so, we got together when I was a personal trainer.
Okay.
I wasn't a creator yet. I wasn't into the camera world yet. So when I made that transition to be into the camera world, it's me starting from scratch all over again. So when I was single, started my personal training brand, it was just all about me, and I was able to build that thing up without having to think about taking care of another person or sharing my feelings with another person. Right. 2020 was a little bit of a challenge because I started my creation business. Me and Stephanie had we've been together for a little while now, probably a year or so, and then the pandemic hits. Now I'm faced with the challenges of trying to build the business in a pandemic, especially a business like mine where it's like content creation. Yeah. Nobody's even selling anything, so nobody's going out, so nobody's really making videos or getting photo shoots. So I was faced with the challenge of trying to build that, nurture the relationship, and manage the pandemic all in one.
It's a lot.
And it was at a point where we, spend hours and hours and hours at home together, doing nothing. She was working from home. I wasn't doing anything. I was at home and just constantly being with each other. We clashed a lot. And we've had a couple fights, and I had to start to realize too, it's like I have to teach myself how to maintain these two relationships. And it's one of those things where it's just like, okay, listen to Stephanie when and it's not easy to do, especially when I'm like a go type of spirit, and she's super nurturing and wants to be nurtured 24/7. I'm just like, yo, you got to get away from me. Right. I have to go out and do these things so I can make us better in the long run. Yeah. You start lying to yourself. Yeah, right. Stuff like that, right? So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know how I nurture the relationship life and business life at the same time, because it's one of those things where I don't necessarily know if anybody has the blueprint to. You just kind of take it for face value, and you just kind of take it a day at a time. The one thing is to kind of just be patient. Patience is a virtue, whatever. You have to listen to your partner, and you have to make compromises. Yeah,
that's a big one right there. Compromise.
Yeah, you have to make you can't be in a healthy relationship without making compromises. Yeah. Just like in your business, you're gonna have to make compromises for the stuff that you're doing in your business. You're gonna have to make compromises for the stuff that you're doing in a relationship. You can't expect your partner to make all the compromises for yourself. For you. You have to meet them halfway. So that was one of the biggest things that I had to learn. Yeah. What about you though? So like, because I know you've been in relationships. Yeah. You've been.
So my last relationship, she was an entrepreneur. So.
Does that help when we're both people entrepreneurs?
So from my experience, there was a lot of benefits of it. and there was a lot of challenges with it. So the benefits was we both had the same mindset. We understand like we can just sit on our laptop and create content and sit in a room and not worry about having to be there with each other all the time. We understand like, hey, we'll hang out this Friday because these next couple of days we got to work on stuff.
Right.
We know that quality time, we'll make quality time, but not every time can be quality time. You got to remember that, not take it personal, and understanding like, hey, we're here to support each other. Remember, we can't make each other feel love. We got to love ourselves, so make sure we're taking care of ourselves.
Big one, right?
So that was very helpful with it. Challenges that came with it, though, sometimes it's a lot of butting heads because you have two people who are trying to be both dominant. And if there isn't the compromise from both parties, then it was challenging. So that's what it was. It was just, I learned a lot from it, but I also learned that like maybe that's not something I want. Because when I'm with somebody who's not an entrepreneur, but they have the same traits as an entrepreneur in the sense of like good time management, very organized, very goal oriented, discipline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like budgeting, saving, thinking about the future, like same aspects of it, but they're okay with working a 9-to-5 job, but they want to make more money in it, right? They're still making more money, still know that.
Yeah.
The balance I like of that though is that now, because you have two different mindsets, the other person becomes supportive of your dreams. And that I think is powerful when someone's like, hey, you're not good at being organized. I'll help you organize stuff. Hey, remember that appointment you made? Oh yeah, I totally forgot. I already wrote it down for you. Here you go. Because that person's not focused on their own goals as much as we are, they can be there to support our goals. And then what we can do is help them think differently. And help raise their value. So I think there's a blessing and a curse for each of them and stuff like that. And the biggest things I've learned is just like date night once a week. I try to do that. That was my big thing. Date night once a week on the calendar. Communicate it. Okay, this day at this time we'll do it. Quality time, no phone, at least that. So we know we're doing that. And a lot of communication and stuff like that. And I think the biggest thing is communication, because sometimes for me, I thought I had to be successful to be loved.
You used to think the same thing. That's crazy.
And I remember it was so ingrained in me that one time I was having this conversation and a girl was, they said, I was like, look, I'm on this magazine cover. Dude, my video went viral. Oh my gosh, I just hung out with this famous person. I'm life coaching celebrities. Look at me on this new video. I'm on TV. And the response was, okay, that's cool. So how was your day? Yeah. And at first I was like, why aren't you celebrating me? Everyone else is praising me. Am I with the wrong person? Yeah. I was probably the right person. And then it hit me because Jay Shetty said on a podcast right after I experienced this, and that's how I know it's like the universe speaking to me. He goes, that person just likes you for you, not what you do.
They don't care. They don't care about all the, it's not that they don't care. They love to see you genuinely happy, because when you're out being successful and things like that, they love to see that the hard work that you've been putting in behind the scenes, because they see all that, and to see that it's finally benefiting, but they're not excited as you are, because it's just like, regardless if you would have made that happen or not,
right?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's pretty powerful.
That's deep, right?
Yeah, it's so deep.
I hope everybody experiences that type of love, because that is like, that's how it should be. We shouldn't have to earn love.
Mm-hmm. and that's a big thing too, because I feel like that's one of the things where like Stephanie kind of had to learn. It's just like, I'm here, right? Mm-hmm. As long as I'm here with you, it's like I don't always show it. I don't always like. Matter of fact, like when Stephanie looks back at this podcast, she's gonna be licking her chops. It's like, oh, see, date night once a week. Right? I'm
gonna edit this part out.
Just edit that part out. It's like, it takes this date night once a week, so we calendar date. I was like, all right, calm down. But I do think that's important. Yeah. And I do think that's one of the things that we need to start implementing, because in our date nights, we don't necessarily do extravagant things all the time. Yeah. It could be something just like going to the movies.
Exactly. It could be simple movies, dinner, cooking at home, just something, spending time with each other without being distracted. Yeah,
because we're homebodies. We love sitting on the couch and just watching. And this is another thing too, is like back to the question that you kind of asked previously of how I kind of navigate the two worlds.
Yeah.
I started kind of, and I've gotten away from it in recent memory a little bit, but I started to try to treat my business as kind of like a 9-to-5. Mm-hmm. So, because when Stephanie comes home, she works from 7 a.m. to like 3 o'clock. She comes home, she's home.
Right,
She's not bringing work home.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm working 24/7. So what I had to learn is when I had to set a certain time. When 5 o'clock hits, 5:30 hits, 6 o'clock hits, I need to detach myself from my office and I need to go sit down and chill with her to a point where I can just like be with her. You know what I mean? Because if I don't, she's going to be in there in her own thoughts, getting restless. And that's when...
And you know it too, when you're in there, you're like...
That's when problems happen. I can hear her pacing back and forth from the office. And just like her creeping and it's like, are you okay? And she keeps asking me that. And I hate that question. I was like, why are you asking me that? I'm working right now, right? And she feels me getting, super stressed out. So to avoid that, I have to like, okay, let's go in the living room, sit on the couch with her and just watch something on TV. Be present. Lately, I've been taking my laptop out there.
Right.
She's, I think she's okay with it for the most part, but it'll get to a point where she's like, dude, put your laptop away.
Yeah.
Watch the movie type of thing. So
especially because you guys live together too. So that's another challenge. It's different when you don't live together. When you live together, you're around each other more. So sometimes it's like, you got to get used to like, I can't 24/7 be around you. Yes. I know we live together, but sometimes we just got to exist because I'm doing this and you're doing that.
Yeah.
So that's why like that communication aspect.
And bro, it's one of those things that I tell Stephanie a lot. Because she always comes home from work. She's like, oh, did you miss me? No. You've been gone for 5, 6, 8 hours. No, I don't. Like, in order for me to miss you, you have to be gone for a couple days. You leave me completely alone, right? And that's how like I can miss you. But I saw you this morning. What you mean? Do I miss you? Like, I've been working this whole time. Like, no, like I barely even noticed that you were gone, type of thing.
So I'm guessing she's more the emotional one. You're more of like the logical, right?
Oh my God! If you hung out with us for 20 minutes, you can see. But yeah, she's definitely super on the emotional side, and I'm more like, get the fuck away from me.
It's so funny too, because I ever had a conversation with somebody, because I'm like, your girlfriend. I'm more the emotional one, right?
Okay.
So like for me, that's just how I am. So I'm like, so you miss me? And they're like, and I was like a scale 1 to 10, and one time she was like,
Stephanie.
She goes, "Are you sure you want me to say the number?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "What are you expecting? Like a 10? Because it's not. We just hung out." She's like, "Why do I have to tell you a number?" It's kind of like that. And at first, thank God I go to therapy and I work on myself, because at first I was just like, oh my God, that's the meanest thing. I was like, wait a minute. Why am I asking that question though?
Yeah.
Because I need that validation, right?
Yeah,
so
it's that little bit of insecurity. And
exactly. So I'm able to catch it and then be like, oh yeah, huh? And that's when she's like, I hang out with you. We do stuff. Like that's me saying that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. It's interesting. Because now I'm getting it from your perspective, because it's like, I'll be looking at Stephanie like she's fucking crazy. I'm just like, what are you talking about? Do I miss you? You were just in the living room for 4 hours. No, I don't. Like, I used to get mad at her for saying stuff like that, but it's just like, dude, I need to actually be away from you in order to miss you.
Do you guys know your love languages? Have you done that?
She's been trying to push me to do that. And I haven't.
She's probably like, I know mine.
She says it all too. She likes touchy feely. She loves cuddling. She loves all that mushy stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll just be like, I'll be sitting on the couch watching TV, and she'll just come and sit next to me and put her head on me. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, she's like, what? It's my love. I love touch. She's like, touch is okay. I'm just like we don't always have to be like hip to hip all the time. It's just, So her love language is the emotional, doing, cuddly, touchy, feely, that type of sentimental type stuff. I think my love language is more so is like doing stuff for people. Like for her, I would buy her a random gift or do something that I know she'll appreciate. Take her somewhere, stuff like that. It's more of like a practical, I guess, type of scenario.
So it might be, because there's 5 of them. So that might be either acts of service or gifts.
Acts of service.
Because the way that we love people is the way that we want to love back.
Yeah.
So that's why when you communicate it, because like there's times where I can, like mine is quality time, acts of service, and I think those are my main 2. Before, it used to be words of affirmation when I was really insecure. I needed that, right? The physical touch, because I used to connect sex with love. So those were mine. But as I worked on it, it changed. But I needed to know that because before I'd be like touching the person like that. They're like, you, like my ex is like you, right? And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, this is right. And she goes, no, like I don't like being touched with anything. I was like,
don't you want this?
Well, what's wrong with me? And she's nothing's wrong with you. I was like, being touched.
And here's the thing that always makes me laugh too, because we'll be sitting down watching a movie.
Yeah.
And we'll be watching the movie, and the girl would like hug the guy, and she'll look at me like,
right?
I was like, don't you fucking dare.
Don't you hug me.
Don't you come over here. That's them. We are not living in a movie right now. Don't you come over. And she's just like, oh my God. I was like, because she sees something, and she watches a lot of movies, right? Because she wants to live in this fairy tale type of fantasy land. Like, she wants to cuddle in bed all night. I was like, real couples don't cuddle in bed all night.
Yeah.
Like,
guys, if you're watching this, don't base your relationship off of movies.
Oh my God, please don't. Those are not real. When the credits roll up, they go back to their separate lives. Yeah. It's chaotic, right? But it's like she wants, because she always likes, when we're in bed, she always wants to cuddle all night. I was like, real couples don't lay in bed hugged up throughout the whole night.
Yeah, their whole life too.
We'll cuddle for the first 5-10 minutes and get away from me. Be on my side.
It's too hot right now. I can't do this right now.
and then she'll come in here. She'll do some slick stuff. We'll come in here and blast the AC. So it's like, I know what you're doing.
It's cold. See,
I know what you're doing. So yeah, she's a character. That one. I got to keep my eye on her. But the one thing I do love about her is that same type of qualities. Like, she's very loving, she's very caring, especially the type of job that she does. You have to kind of be like that super nurturing, caring type of person. And I need that, because especially when what we do in this entrepreneur life, it's cutthroat out there.
Yeah.
Right? And we go outside, and we're fighting. I always like to say we're fighting demons that a lot of people don't realize is when you walk outside, you're getting hit with a ton of negativity. No, you're not doing this. You're not blah, 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 blah. Even if somebody's not telling you directly, you'll see something of somebody else doing something a different way, and you do something your own way, and you're not getting as successful as them.
Right.
That's another form of people saying that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
And that's negative, and that stuff weighs on you. So when you can come home and have somebody that's super nurturing, super caring, that can kind of get you out of that a little bit and bring you back to reality. Because every time that I edit a video, I'll show it to Steph. I don't think to this day she haven't said any of my videos are trash, when it's just like, I look back on a video 2 months from now and it's like, that video was trash. Right. You could have been a little more honest. But, it's just, we need that encouragement. I know I do. Yeah. So she gives that to me tenfold. And I know that's really important.
Yeah, they say that the things we love the most about our partners are the things that annoy us the most.
Oh my God!
Right? Like you said that too. Like I love it though.
It's like, I love it, but it's like not right now. Don't do it right now.
Yeah.
Pick and choose. I can't pick and choose. Yeah, exactly.
And it's so good to have that, because I heard in a podcast that your number one is your partner. You know what I mean? And we should all want that, because they're your biggest supporters, but also they're your biggest challenge. But you grow the most in that.
I actually heard a quote once. It was I forgot who said it, but the quote kind of basically goes, if you want to be successful in life, get married young.
If you want to be successful in life, get married young.
Get married young.
Really?
It's a ridiculous statement.
Yeah.
But the premise of that is, so when you get married young, you focus on one person rather than focusing on many.
I can see that.
Focus on one person that can help you get there,
right? Rather
than focus on many that's just going to take. So if you get away from like the ridiculousness of getting married early, because I'm not even married yet. I don't even like the idea of marriage. That's a whole other topic. But the idea of it is, let's say me and Stephanie, for example, we get together. She has helped me so much just in the last 3 years to getting to where I am today. I can honestly say without her, I wouldn't be nearly as far along in my filmmaking journey as I am now.
What would you say are the things she's added to that journey?
Well, the number one thing is just the encouragement and support, right? Because I know when the pandemic hit and I stopped training, because we had moved to Irvine and I wasn't training anymore. I wasn't necessarily doing a bunch of the camera stuff and stuff like that. And she was still working. So I wasn't homeless because of her. I wasn't living at my parents' house because of her, because she had a really good job and she held it down for the better part of a half a year while I was trying to get myself together. She even went as far as she bought me a couple lenses. Every time that I needed something, I never got any blowback. It's like, oh, I need this new camera. Get it.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
She had your back.
I remember I was to a point where we were in a pandemic. I wasn't working. Our rent was like $3,500 a month. She was working, and every little bit of money that I get, I'm trying to buy something camera equipment wise, and barely have enough for like rent and bills and things like that. And every time I would say, it's like, damn, I'm broke, but I really want this camera, or I really need this lens, or I really need this light. Without hesitation, get it. It's an investment.
Wow.
We'll be okay. Get it. I'm just like, yo, you got to stop saying that, because I'm gonna buy it.
Like, I like this. Tell me more. Like,
you can't keep telling me that, because I'm gonna buy it. It's like, just recently, there was this. I told her I really wanted this cinema camera that came out. It's a $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 camera, and I was like, I don't need it, but I know I want it, and I know it's gonna take my game to the next level. She was like, I already know you're gonna get it, so just fucking get it. And I'm just like, you can't say it all the time, Steph. We're gonna be fucking homeless if you keep telling me to buy these cameras. Like, there's the hundreds of thousands of dollars of camera equipment in here.
You can buy a house without your camera.
and that's just her, man. She's so encouraging. She just keep doing it, get it. Whatever I want to do, whatever idea that I have, do it, get it. And another thing that she helped elevate me is when I would go out on shoots and stuff. Most girlfriends, I don't know, because I have a lot of creator friends too, that they always tell me, it's like, damn, who's taking your BTS videos? Who is you hiring to come onto your shoots? I'm like, that's Steph. I was like, she's like, Steph is coming on to your shoots with you? I was like, first of all, she wanted to learn how to use a camera so she can come and help me out. And especially her being as busy as she is in her own, she was working 2 jobs. She was going to school. I mean, not going to school, but working out of school Monday through Friday, and then working for in-home therapy and stuff like that. And I would have an event on a Saturday after she's worked 60 hours the previous week. It's like, oh, I got this event. She's like, oh, okay, I'll go. Do you want me to go or no? I was like, she's like, I can come take BTS. I didn't have to ask. She's like, damn. It got to a point once. This is kind of funny. It got to a point once I had to tell her, it's like, no, you can't come to this one, because I'll take care of it. I don't want you to come at every single shoot, because now I start to feel bad because I'm tagging you along and I know you're fucking tired and all this stuff. Especially her commute. She works all the way in Hesperia, driving hour and a half, 2 hours to work and back every day. So it's just like, why do you want to come with me to all these shoots? But every shoot, she was just at the last wedding that I got hired as a photographer. She was doing BTS video, and she got so much content that I was able to make like a damn near full wedding video out of it. Wow. Which is insane. So,
and see, that right there is like what I was talking about, the benefits of one entrepreneur, one not. Because see, like that type of support, like that, right? Like, because like you said, it makes your journey so much easier. You have somebody in your life, a life partner that believes in you and is willing to support you. And it's not like they're trying. It's kind of like in their nature. Like they want to. Yeah. Like they get satisfaction. So I think that's super cool that she that's cool. Like that's so much stress. The biggest thing is there's so much stress in entrepreneurship. If you can find anything to relieve that stress, like I'm all for it. And if it's your partner when they do that, it's like, and they want it, it's like, wow.
Because it also, like her doing that, it also helped me indirectly without even me really knowing. And I didn't realize this until I had a conversation recently with one of my photography or videography friends. And it's just like, I had to teach Steph how to use the camera while we were at jobs, basically. So not only am I focused on doing the job at hand, but I'm teaching somebody else how to use and do what I'm doing in a sense. Mm-hmm. So that made me gain so much more knowledge of what I was doing that it took me to another level. Oh, yeah. As far as like just me knowing what I have to know to get the job done. Now I'm teaching somebody else what I know, and it makes me be more conscious of what I'm doing. So yeah, it's I know I'm incredibly lucky, but she still gets on my nerves. Right. But it's one of those things where it's never going to be perfect. Of course not. And I try to tell her this all the time because she doesn't fully grasp that concept. She wants me to be happy 24/7. I'm just like, look, there's some days I'm not going to be happy, and it's not your fault. Right. I don't want you to take that burden. There's just some things that I got to work out and I got to go through, and she always wants to be involved in that process. And I tell her, like, if you're always involved in that process, I'm going to start to resent you a little bit because I need to, at least some things I need to be able to work out myself.
Right.
So again, it's just one of those back and forth things. We kind of figure it out as we go, but I am incredibly lucky to have her and I love her to death. She's going to look at this and be like, oh,
this is the real part right here, guys. This is going to be the real part. I
didn't even want to say it on camera because I know the kind of reaction that she's going to have, but yeah, she deserves it. She deserves everything. So
it's that concept behind every strong man, there's a stronger woman.
It is facts, and it goes back to the quote that I said. You know, if you want to be successful, get married young.
Dude, that's so powerful.
You don't necessarily have to get married young, but you have to find somebody that's there for you and not for what you can become.
Because the way I look at it is, because you have purpose in your life and what you're doing.
Right.
I remember we said purpose is everything. I saw this thing: the two biggest days in a person's life is the day they were born and the day they find out why they were born, and that's where purpose comes in. The way I look at it too is like when you have purpose, that's a relationship. So you're already in a relationship. So to be able to try to date around and sleep around and do all that, it's like your purpose is going to be on the back burner. You find somebody who believes in your purpose with you, and that's enough right there. That's already being in two relationships.
Man. Are you single right now?
I am currently talking with people.
Okay.
Say that. I'm taking out because I'm talking to people. I have a good reason for that.
Well, I'm not trying to get you in trouble. But where I was going with that is, especially nowadays, 2022, the single life dating scene. It's rough out there.
So I'll talk on that part because
that's where I was trying to get you to go.
So, I was in that scene for about a year of not dating the whole year, but in a year I was a single. Dated somebody, talked to people, and like. Yeah, man. It's like I go, man. People are crazy. People are never really at that mindset. A lot of people are just it's rough out there.
Yeah,
and it's like, especially when you kind of know what you want out of life, and you want a good person in your life. It's not easy, man. You can be good. A girl can be very good looking. If you're a girl, the guy could be good looking, but good looks don't raise kids. I heard that was a funny one I heard. And good looks
so
don't.
True.
That's just they don't last.
They don't.
So you got to get past the fact of always wanting that, which could be tough. 2, I heard this thing: if you get butterflies in your stomach when you meet somebody, it means run away. I saw that. I was like, oh man, I always have butterflies in my stomach. No wonder why they never worked out. Because that's anxiety.
Yeah, because like a lot of people are watching these movies and they feel like the butterflies thing is just like, this is the right person.
And it's a feeling. Now you're basing it off a feeling.
Exactly.
But really it should be like a sense of peace and calmness. And I think what people got to realize too in the dating world is like find somebody where you feel safe and calm and peaceful. And don't expect it to be a feeling all the time.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the problem. We expect the feeling, and it might be somebody healthy in your life.
Yeah.
And you always want the opposite. You don't want someone just like you.
Here's my thing with the whole dating scene. I'm not in the dating scene, obviously. It's been a few years since I've been in that environment. But when I was single before Stephanie, I did kind of get a little bit of like all the dating profiles out there, the Tinders, the Hinges, and all that stuff. This is what 4 or 5 years ago. Here's my biggest problem with those things. When people put up their online profiles, right? They have all these long bios of what they like and don't like. So they're basically giving somebody the cheat code to their heart.
Right.
And who's to say like I can read all that, become that person, get what I want, and then bounce.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like to people out there in the dating scene, don't put everything that you're looking for out there. If you go out and hang out with somebody and they're not checking the boxes, leave. Don't try to say and nurture it and trying to like make them and be like, oh, he or she is really cute. I want to stay and like and try to ignore some of the signs.
Or the potential thing. They got potential. Let's look at the facts. Who are they in this moment? Not who they can be.
Exactly.
Because the potential is.
You have to take things at face value these days. Because especially nowadays. You can probably attest to this, especially when you get older, it gets so much harder. I remember, and this is before I even went with Steph, I was like 28. I went on a date with this one girl, and 30 minutes, an hour into the day, she asked me what my credit score was.
This reminds me of Joe Coy's a comedy skit.
Is this a job interview? What is like? Oh my god! And I mean, she kind of when she asked, it wasn't like she just blot out, clipboard. So what's your credit score? It wasn't anything like that. But it was within a casual conversation.
Yeah.
I'm just like, why do you want to know that? If I say it's terrible, are you gonna stop talking to me? Like, are you gonna judge me off my credit score like these credit bureaus? Like, I'm not my credit score,
right?
Obviously. But I just think it's funny, man. Especially nowadays, man. You get older, girls want to be married tomorrow. Especially these girls in their 30s. I
have to have a kid before 35.
Oh
I gotta get married. I'm getting older. I only have so much time, and it's like, who says who?
Yeah,
it's society standards.
It's the society is messing. The society in these fucking movies is messing everything up, man. You have to be married when you're like 28, 29, 30, kid by 31, 32. And all this, it's just like, live your life.
Yeah.
Wake up that day. If you decide to have a kid that day, you can try whatever. But you don't try to map out 10 years down the road today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least not in that sense. Not trying to like build a relationship, build families and things like that. Build yourself, because you said something earlier, something about like you can't love. What did you say? It's like, it's something about you can't, like, the way that you love, you expect somebody to love you back.
Yeah.
You said that. But I don't even know where I was trying to go with this. But it's just like, you can't necessarily try to get somebody else to kind of abide by what your long-term goals are. Mm-hmm. If you want to be married by 30, you can't necessarily force your partner to have that same mindset.
Right.
If he doesn't, leave. And it's okay. Find somebody else. But I feel like people like that are just digging themselves into a deeper hole, because if they're not married at 30, now they're thinking something's wrong with them.
Exactly.
And it can kind of create a whole new wave of anxiety. And
they might settle for less. I always tell people, you settle for less, your life will be a mess.
I love the rhymes, man.
Yeah.
Call you Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, right. And it's true though. I think it's like, it's especially like with me, I work in, I work in the realm of psychology and therapy and human behavior. And it's like, yeah, all these things, I need to have this, I need to have that. Even in business, I need to have, it's like, dude, don't do that.
Yeah.
Lower your expectations and have high hope. Because the higher expectations, the more frustration you will have, and the higher the expectations, the more life will bother you.
Right.
And you can't. It's like, dude, just be you. Be happy with what you have. Know that happiness never comes outside of you. It's always within. And whoever wants to be in your life, cool. Whoever doesn't, walk away.
Man.
Don't stick with it.
Expectations always lead to disappointment, don't they? I remember when I was a kid, by 25, I'm going to have this. By 30, I'm going to have a big house, a super nice car. I mean, I'm kind of close to it. Right. At 30, I'm going to have a big house. I'm going to have a super nice car. I'm going to have a supermodel girlfriend. I'm going to be playing football in the NFL. All this ridiculous stuff that I wanted as when I was a kid.
You're the wide receiver for Tom Brady.
You're 30 now. You're just like, God damn, I'm not necessarily close to any of that. I don't know. I'm living my best life. I don't care what nobody says. Like, I drive a nice car. I live in a really nice neighborhood. I have a really nice, beautiful girlfriend that loves me, and I'm cool, man. It's like live life. You take it one day at a time. Live each day to the fullest, and just be happy with where you're at. Again, it sounds so simple, so cliche, but it's so important to just be in your own space and stop getting in your own way. Because the more expectation you put on yourself, the more disappointed you're going to be, because no one ever lives up to their expectations, except if you're LeBron James or somebody like that. But
even him, he probably too. There's things that he wants to do.
He wanted LeBron James. He
wants more rings. He does.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people, and this is another thing that kills me about the fucking whole sports industry. There's only one champion every year. There's 30 some odd teams.
Yeah.
Just because you don't win a championship one year, your whole season is deemed as a failure. It's just like, I get it to an extent, but it's like, it wasn't a failure, because only you're saying 32 teams failed and there was only one team that was successful. I don't get the whole concept. And I come from a sports background, which is crazy. Winning is everything. To me, it's not.
What's that concept too, right? It's like, if you love what you do, you'll be able to get through all the struggles of not getting certain things. But if you only doing it for the outcome of this is why I'm doing it for this thing, it's like, and you're never going to be happy doing it. And you see players like that fall off quick or get into drugs or get into trouble, because the mindset's not about the love of the sport anymore. Where there's people like in the Rams, Matt Stafford. I was stoked when he won because I knew he's been playing football for so many years.
He's one of the best.
Losing. He never gave up though, and he got his opportunity, and he won. He could have gave up a long time ago. And
that's another thing too. It's like he went through all that. He won a Super Bowl. The next day, people on ESPN was like, "Oh, Matt Stafford isn't a Hall of Famer." It was like, damn, like let the man enjoy the fruits of it. Like Matt Stafford's one of the most talented quarterbacks that's in the league.
Yeah,
and it has been in the league for the last couple of years. He's just been buried in Detroit, or is some subpar football being played. But that dude is a beast. Like if you just sit there and watch him throw the football, me coming from a quarterback's perspective, I play quarterback, but the dude is amazing. And to hear the people in the media bashing him about him not being a Hall of Famer, it's just like, damn. It's like, why are y'all even on that right now? It's like, just congratulate him, let him celebrate his Super Bowl. We ain't got to bash him. And it's just the mentality. And I feel like that's the mindset a lot of people have in this world, especially when it comes to, supporting people in your entrepreneurship and just stuff like that. I can, especially me coming from where I came from 3 years ago, dead broke and having nothing, to me now doing all this stuff, having all this equipment, doing what I'm doing, and somebody come out and say, it's like, yeah, but you're still not making movies.
Right. It's always something.
It's like, well, damn. All right. Well,
thanks for just ruining my day.
It's like,
how do you protect yourself from the haters? Because the haters are real, and the more you become somebody, the more that they come into your life. How do you protect yourself from that?
Well, we kind of talked about it earlier, right? For me, protecting yourself from the haters is not worrying about your haters and not doing stuff to kind of please or get your haters mad, but to go the opposite way and do something to please your supporters and do everything for them. Haters, once I kind of understood that concept, I don't have haters. And I tell people this all the time. It's like I was just talking to my boy Demoris about this the other day. It's like people out here are always talking about my haters. It's like, who hating on you? You have all these imaginary haters and blah, blah, blah. But there are people out there that are hating on you. Cyberbullies and all this other stuff. But you have to understand, they're not doing it because they hate you. They're probably doing it because they hate themselves.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because they're not at a point in their life where they can do the things that you're doing. So they're going to hate on you for doing the things that you're doing because they can't get to that level or they can't do that. And we equate that as haters, rightfully so. But you got to look past that and you got to just look at that at face value and be like, let that man do what he's going to do. Let him talk. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Right.
I'm doing my thing. So
I like that you said that too. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them.
It has everything
Again,
to do
that
with
self-awareness of knowing that. So when that does rise up, you can challenge that.
Exactly.
Because it's hard. The bigger you become, people are forced to have an opinion on you. I learned that from my people.
Yes.
It's like, do you like the rapper Eminem?
Yeah.
Okay, see, like, and if I ask someone else, do you like, who is that? Let me play a song. They're forced to say yes or no.
Right.
Right? You're forced to have an opinion. So when you become somebody, people are forced to either like you or not. But it has nothing to do with you at all. Because like you said, it has everything to do with them. And the part I always say to be careful with, if there's some truth to it, that's when it hurts. Someone could say, like, and it could be about your look, something simple, just like, dude, look at the way he talks. Like in the podcast, he might say, he said a lot. You know it, you're like, oh my gosh, everybody's going to hear that.
But and that's one of those things where you can kind of, if you're real with yourself, you can kind of take stuff like that and use it as constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Take it and be like, okay, yeah, you're right. Instead of like blowing back and trying to challenge something that you know deep down is the truth.
Yeah.
It's just one of the things where you're just kind of like, you have to look past it, because if you dwell on every single hater that comes and you give that attention, they're gonna keep you in the same spot. You're never gonna be able to grow and get past that.
Like I say right a lot in my speeches, I'll notice. So sometimes I'll be like, all right, guys, so today I'm going to say right. Okay, I think I got him out. I'm going to own it. And now let's see how this goes. It's just, again, just owning it, laughing at it. And
that's the biggest thing, owning it and laughing at it, right? That is the key to fucking life, man. It's just owning your own stuff and laugh at yourself. If you don't laugh at yourself enough, then when other people laugh at you, you're gonna feel some type of way about it. But there's some things out there that are true about you that aren't perfect.
Yeah.
None
no
of us
one's
are.
perfect.
None of us are. So you're gonna make mistakes. Make them. From mistakes, beautiful blessings come. I say that all the time.
There's a book called Fail to Succeed. You need to fail to succeed, right? Yeah. Mistakes are just lessons. They're just lessons. It's how you learn. Be okay with it. Be open to it. I'm going to make mistakes and I can't wait. I can't because they're just lessons for me to get to the next place. That doesn't mean I'm a failure.
Yes.
And that's like, oh, okay, I'll never be good at this. Like, no. You just learn from it.
Exactly. And then once you get to that point, you can kind of get to the point you can take that next step and go to the next level. And instead of like, that saying, you have to learn from your mistakes. I was told once at a young age, and this is kind of when I was in my football realm and trying to do sports and things like that and looking at all these athletes getting busted for weed, drugs, and all that other stuff. Somebody told me, it's like, you can't make all the mistakes and be able to learn from them throughout your lifetime. You have to be able to learn from other people's mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to be self-aware, mindful enough about what's going on around you and learn from everything that's going on, right? Because this is another quote. I think 50 Cent said this, or I heard 50 Cent say this. If you are in a conversation with somebody that has nothing going on for them and you don't learn anything, like if a homeless person came up to you and just started talking to you, if you don't learn anything from that conversation, you're the fool, not the homeless guy. Because there's something in there that you can take that's going to benefit you in a positive way, whether it's not doing something that they did or taking something that they said and applying it to your own life. But if you're in a conversation with a fool and you learn nothing from that fool, you're the fool.
Yeah.
Period, point blank. You have to be able to learn from every situation, every circumstance, always be on your P's and Q's and just look how people navigate the world. And
remain teachable, right? Everybody's a teacher in your life. I believe
everything. Exactly.
I believe everything in life is teaching us something, but we just got to be open to that.
Yeah.
Everything you're looking for, every answer is right in front of you, but you got to be open to learning from everybody. Because like you said, it could be a homeless person. They could teach you something. I always tell people, like in recovery, I say, if you have 2 days sober, you can give the guy with 1 day sober advice. Why? Because you have 24 more hours in him.
Absolutely.
How'd you get through that one?
Absolutely.
Never think you need to have this to be able to help people or teach people. No.
I used to think that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. You're absolutely right. It doesn't matter. So in the whole filmmaking world, you can go watch a movie that had a $37 million budget and you can walk out of that movie like, oh, I didn't like that movie. The people that was associated with that movie that made that movie has been doing this for 20, 30, 40 plus years, but they didn't put something out that you liked. That doesn't, I say that by saying you don't have to be a top dog in order to make good content that people are going to love and generally like. You can be a beginner, have a creative vision and a story, put it together, and people will vibe with it because of that story. You don't have to be the Steven Spielberg in order to make a movie. You don't have to be Michael Jordan to play basketball. You know what I'm saying? And as human beings, we do this a lot and we get in our own way, is anything we want to do in life. If you want to pick up a jump rope, you look at the top jump rope, it's like, I'm never going to be able to get to that, so why even start?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's not the ultimate goal. It's like you can pick up a jump rope and it can change your life dramatically. You can never get to that point. And you can help so many people and change so many people's lives just through your passion of jumping rope, right?
That's true. It's like in the speaker, like for me as a motivational speaker, I like to learn from all the speakers, take a little bit from everyone, but never try to compete.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to compete. I want to learn from it and then just enjoy it. That's the thing. Because I enjoy it. I don't mind the journey of it. But if I'm chasing it to be the best, which comes in my mind at times, it pops up.
Yeah,
that's when I start to hate what I'm doing or stress myself out. I got to be perfect. I got to sound right. This is the moment. And it's like, no. Just enjoy it. Have fun. It's not about being better than somebody. It's just about being the best that you can. Man. Share the spotlight.
People that are having fun in this world looks like they have it all figured out. Why is that? Right? There's people on Instagram, TikTok, all this other stuff that doesn't have anything, but they on there having fun, and you're just like, damn, I want that.
Yeah.
But I have more than them. But it's just like they're just
really got 20 followers and having a great time. How? That's not right. I got like 1 million. Like, what's going on?
Oh man, it's just I don't even know what it is. I don't even know what do you even call that?
I think everything comes down to perspective, right?
Right.
It just depends. Some people can be grateful for what they have, and some people think that they need to attain something to be grateful. I think it all comes to that. It's because a lot of it stems from like inner child wounds.
Yeah.
If you grow up in a competitive household, you're gonna have a competitive mindset. You might think you always have to be the best. You have to do more, because what's happening is you're trying to get your dad or mom's attention because you never got it, or that was the only way you were able to get that pat on the back. So if you don't heal those wounds in the past, then you're gonna live a lifestyle of always trying to compete without even knowing that you're still trying to win your parents' love through other people.
Yeah.
So I think it all comes down to that. And there's certain people who are loved and appreciated and just cheered the whole time, and they don't think like that. I'm like, why? Well, because they didn't need to prove themselves. They were always told they were good enough in what they did, and so they're content. And that was hard for me to understand. I was like, how can you be content with making this much money? Or how can you be content with this 9 to 5? But a part of me was like, I actually want that.
Yeah.
Because I see how calm you are and how happy you are, and you're living life. I'm like, and then that's when I take a look at myself. I'm like, man, I'm still trying to win my dad's love by being the best, by doing the most. But then I've learned but I'm never happy when I think like that.
It's never, right? And I feel like there's a lot of young adults out here in this world right now that they have these things that they were embedded into their brain when they were a young kid by their parents, peers, whatever the case. And I see all these like younger adults like around my age, 25 to 30, 35, that are hell bent on buying a house. It's like, oh, I need to buy a house. You're gonna kill yourself just so you can buy a house. It's like, I get it. You want to buy a house. It's one of those things. It's the best investment that you can possibly do, and all this other stuff. And the goal is to buy a house for sure, 100%. But don't kill yourself trying to get there. Don't try to like do all this other things and try to manipulate relationship and you know try to do all this crazy stuff in order to get to that one goal. If it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
Have a plan. Set that plan in place, and then just do little baby steps until you get there. You don't have to be 35 and be a homeowner.
Because think about it.
You can wait until 40.
If you have a materialistic goal, every action that you take to get there is going to be based on a materialistic goal. Yeah. Think about that. So now what you're doing is all selfish the whole way there.
Absolutely. Selfish. That's a big word.
And once you get it, like you have a Tesla. If your whole goal was to get a Tesla and you're like, if I get this Tesla, like things will change in my life. I will be liked more. I will be celebrated more. People will look at me as I am successful. I'll get more business. Yeah. And then once you get the Tesla, it's like the build up to getting it's fun. Then you get it, and then maybe the first week it's cool. 2 weeks are cool. And then you're like, it's just a car.
It's just a car. I promise you guys, it's just a car.
Then you're like, well, what happened? I thought this was a thing. Maybe if I do this now, it will solve it. But it's never that. I always believe too, a lot of what we want in life is not what it is. It's the feeling that comes attached to it. So identify the feeling that you're looking for, and then you'll figure out you can actually create that feeling with having nothing.
So that's actually a really good segue. I'm actually this last question before we wrap this up. Whenever you set out a goal in life, and then you get there, and then you look back and you're just like, it wasn't what I thought it would be, or I don't have that feeling like I thought I would have once I set that goal and I reached it. Or actually, let me ask you this: let's say you get to a point where you make a ton of money and you buy a house, you buy that Tesla, and you get to that point where you don't even want to show it off anymore when you get it, because you don't want people to make you don't make people feel like that you're at a point where you're bragging and you're resting on your laurels. Because I've gotten to that point, right? Because the whole thing with the Tesla, I wanted a Tesla so bad, and I worked my ass off until I was able to afford one. And then once I got it, I rarely even told anybody. I didn't even tell anybody that I bought it. It was like months that went by and people didn't even know if I had a Tesla. I didn't want to flash it because it's like, okay, I got it. What's next? Type of thing. How do you feel about that? Like,
I think it's always just check your intention. Are you trying to get validation from it, or are you trying to show people maybe like anything is possible, and like if you work hard you can get things? That's what I believe. Because when I was currently on a TV show like 3 weekends ago in Miami, my whole life I was chasing it for attention. I was. If I'm famous, everyone will know who I am, and I knew it, right? And then once I was on it, it was the most stressful experience of my life. I will never do it again, And it made me realize too, like, again, it's always check your intention. My intention was a selfish reason. So when I got there, it was stressful. And I'm like, oh, I get it now. I don't want to do this.
What was the TV show?
It was like an America's Got Talent show. And there's a famous YouTuber, Patty Mayo. He's like 10 million subscribers. He like hangs out with, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, all those guys.
Gotcha.
Full Send, all those guys are doing big things. And so when I say that it's like, I always say, just check your intention, because there's nothing wrong with expressing yourself if it's to help out other people, I think, or to just express your gratitude. But if it's to get attention and to get validated, to prove somebody wrong, and then it's like, then that's when you gotta don't do that.
Yeah,
it all comes down to that, right? Check your intentions.
I think that's pretty cool, because I think I never do anything for the intention of being the guy type of thing, because everything that I've done in my life, I've never been to a point where I've bragged about a lot of the stuff that I have. It's like I'm always super humble and super like and it's like, oh, you have a Tesla. It's like, yeah, it's cool, but it's
you have a humble spirit.
I feel that
you do.
You know what I mean? Because I was watching something on, I forgot what it was, but they were talking about that, and it's just like you get to a point where you get to that ultimate goal that you really wanted, and you don't show anybody. It's like you get to a point where you feel like, oh, it was my boy Terry Warford. Shout out to Terry Warford on Instagram and YouTube. Make sure y'all check him out. But he had put something up and was basically like, when you work your butt off and to get to a point and you obtain something, but you kind of feel like if you start posting about it, you feel like you're showing off and you're putting other people down.
It's the guy with the tank top.
The guy with the tank top. Yeah, I posted it. You seen that? So and he kind of said this, like, it's okay to show off the fruits of your labor, because you get to a point where you're making all that, and you get to a point where you accomplish something that you really want to accomplish, and you start putting it out and letting people see that can inspire some people.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because I look at it the opposite way. It's like, if I put it out, I'm bragging. And I come from very humble situations. When I used to look at people like that, I was like, oh, he's just bragging, blah, blah, blah. But it's also to a point where if you put it out, like he said, if you put it out, you can really inspire somebody in order to, like, yeah, I set out a goal, I did this, and now I have this.
Right.
So if you're naturally a humble person and you do that, I think it comes off as genuine. But there's a lot of people out there that are in the opposite.
Exactly.
And they just do it for clout, and they don't get that, and those people are just miserable, right?
Yeah, and you can tell, right? Like, I think that's why I always say, if you check your intention, no matter what, people are going to talk shit. People, even as humble as you are and you post it, people are still going to say, look at Quay showing off. Yeah. But if you know your intention, that's all that matters. And if the people who know you, your genuine friends that actually know you, they're the ones that know why you're doing it. That's all that matters. Yeah. Everybody else, like, if you don't have my phone number, then what you say doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even know me if you're saying this. Like,
go back to the whole grade school sayings. Like, if I don't know you,
it doesn't matter.
Come on, man.
Because, like, for me, I struggle with being humble. What I mean by that, I'm a very genuine, loving person, but I'm a very insecure person. Yeah. So my insecurities is what creates my center of attention, defect of character, to always be in the spotlight. So, but I'm aware of it. So I can catch myself. I can fall prey to it sometimes when I'm working with people. Like, hey, you kind of took over. I was like, oh, my bad. But I'll take a step back and then go, okay, you're right. It's not about me. I'm about helping somebody. Okay, how can I help you? Because I didn't mean to. I'm aware of it. You know what I mean? So it's always checking your intentions. Like, all my posts when I do stuff, because I'm not a materialistic person, but I would get insecure sometimes when I would post certain things, because some people would be like, oh, look at him posting positive stuff, or trying to be inspirational, videos of him on a podcast. Look at him, he thinks he's all cool. And it's like, look what I'm talking about,
Think
though.
you better than me.
Yeah, look what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, real stuff, like, to help people.
I'm really trying to help people. Like, it's like, when you're trying to help people, other people will be like, oh, he's just showing off. He thinks he's better than everybody, and blah, blah, blah.
Because people, like you said, will feel insecure. So people who feel insecure around you, the people who judge you. People go, Fausto's full of shit. Look at him speaking, hugging people. Like,
fuck those people.
Yeah, it's real though, right? Yeah, it's like, oh, fuck them then.
I know I said that was the last question, but I have one more because I just thought about it. It's my show. I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, that's right, guys. This is like Joe Rogan said. We'll talk 2.5 hours.
So I suffer with this a lot, especially when I was starting out, and it stemmed from football. There's this thing called imposter syndrome. Have you ever heard of it? Yeah. So I feel like that held me back a lot, and it still does, kind of to this day, to a certain degree. I have this sense where it's like all the stuff that I'm doing, no matter how amazing it is, somebody's going to come along one day and just kind of call me out and figure me out and be like, you're a fucking fraud.
You're a fake. You're like, oh, no, they
you're
know.
You're fucking fake, and you didn't go through the proper channels to get to this point. And it always keeps me from doing things. It kept me from doing a podcast for the longest time.
Right.
It kept me from getting on YouTube because like I don't have a degree in filmmaking. I can't just get on there and talk about camera
What school
gear.
did you go? You go to Chapman? Oh, no.
And a lot of people don't know this. I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but a lot of people don't know this. I was personal training for 10, 12 years. Never been certified.
That's right.
So if you're a client of mine in the past, I was never certified. But I carried myself like I was. I felt like I was. I had all the knowledge of a certified personal trainer. I just never took the test.
It's like, do you want the results or do you want the degree?
Exactly.
The piece of paper. That's, it comes down to that.
I feel like I was a better trainer than a lot of people. I did have a certification because it's just a piece of paper. You don't necessarily need a piece of paper in order to do what I was doing because I knew exactly what I was doing and all this, that, and the third. But at the same time, I always had that notion in the back of my mind is somebody's going to come and figure me out. Somebody's going to come and say, oh, you don't know what you're doing. And that's always kept me from being in that spotlight to where it's like, I probably could have helped so many more people, but that one notion of imposter syndrome kept me from doing that because I've always felt like, I can't go big because if I go to a bigger scale, then I'm going to get figured out.
So let me ask you this. Yeah. Where do you think that developed?
Honestly, it probably did develop a lot of work ethic and within myself because knowing that I was always not good enough or thinking that I wasn't good enough.
Why'd you think that?
Why did I think I wasn't good enough? Yeah. It's because people that come from the places that I come from didn't have nice things. They didn't do the type of things that I'm trying to do. They didn't try to start businesses and even coming up, having my parents always tell me like, get a job, get, benefits and all this other stuff. Stop trying to pursue this personal training dream of being your own boss and all this other stuff. It's not realistic. Go work for somebody. So I had that in the back of my head. And it's just like, damn, maybe I'm not worthy. But something within me kept going and I'm glad I did. But it always still stemmed to that point. It's like, I'm not going to push it too hard because I don't want people to come and take it away from me. So with that mindset, it caused me to work harder. That's why I work as hard as I can do. That's why I'm always grinding because I always have that notion in the back of my head, nobody's going to come and take this away from me. And the only reason nobody's going to come and take it away from me is if I keep working, if I keep striving, and I just keep doing what I'm doing in the bubble that I'm doing it in. And now getting to a point where it's been like almost 13 years being an entrepreneur, I'm finally starting to get to that point where it's like, you know what? I'm just as good, or if not better than a lot of other people that are out there that are doing some of the things that I'm doing. I am worthy of obtaining whatever I want. I can go out on YouTube and start a podcast. I can put myself in all these other circles and have conversations with people that I never really would have thought would listen to me because I didn't know what I was talking about. It's like, I do know what I'm talking about. I do have knowledge. I do have all these other things that I never thought I had. And now I'm starting to getting to that. If I start feel the benefits of that coming tenfold, and it's amazing. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that because I know there's a lot of people out there that do kind of suffer from that.
Yeah, that's real.
And I was one that never said anything about it. To this day, I don't think anybody knows about that.
Well, that's good. So we're getting a therapy session right now. By the way, I do therapy, so that's the benefit. That's why I ask certain questions.
I'm going to have to cut him a check after this.
It's only $10,000 an hour. Know your worth.
Yeah, man, I think that's a real big thing, and I think that's super important. I feel like I need to talk about it more because the more that I talk about it, the more I can get myself out of that.
Exactly.
Have you ever experienced anything like that?
Oh yeah, I have imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome is a thing that we develop in childhood, right? Like you said, your parents were saying that go get the job, do this, do that. Like that's not realistic, right? So you start to create this thing of like, I'm not good enough then, right? And so when you decide to change your identity and to do what you want to do, there's that voice in the back of your head of your parents still saying, this is not going to work. It's not realistic. Yeah. And so what's happening is you're still living to please your parents subconsciously. Even if you're killing it and you're killing it and killing it. And that's why you become obsessed with go, because if I don't, and I lose it all, I'm going to prove that belief that I wasn't good enough. Yep. So I got to do whatever I can to not let that catch up to me. And so, yeah, I do struggle with that, like imposter syndrome, because I cheated my way through elementary school. I got straight Fs in 7th grade. 8th grade, I barely passed. Ninth grade, I dropped out of school to independent studies. My mom did all my homework from 10th grade to 12th grade to get my high school diploma because I get packets because I was always on drugs. And so I had all that in the back of my head. So going back to college was scary because people thought, oh, well, you graduated high school. I'm like, actually, I didn't, you know?
Right.
I tried to be a bodybuilder, didn't work out. I tried to be a videographer, didn't work out. I tried to be a pro skateboarder, didn't work out. I tried being a DJ, didn't work out. I tried being personal trainer. I tried all these things, right? And none of it ever worked out. So when I and feeling so unworthy and not good enough and broken and emasculated and coming from poverty, when I got sober and started building myself up, there was always that sense of like, Fausto, you're not going to be anything, man. You're living in delusion. Yes. These are just your mind playing these fantasy stories.
I've been there.
You think you're going to be this person, you know, like I could relate to Kanye. If you've seen the Netflix thing, I recommend it. It's so good. Okay. He was like that too. He was like, I'm already seeing myself holding a Grammy, my speech and all that stuff, and nobody want to give him opportunity. Like, you're just a producer, and stuff like that. And so that's how I was for me too. I had these dreams, but in the back of my head, I'm like, is this a coping tool? Am I just living in my head to not deal with reality? And so as things started to come into fruition, I started getting all these things and accomplishing these things, working with celebrities, you know, doing a business, traveling the world, being on TV, all this stuff, meeting all these famous people, sitting in the rooms with famous people, helping out thousands of people. And I'm like, I still feel like a fraud though. People are going to know. Yeah. They're really going to know who I am. And so what helped me work through that was a lot of reflection. Mm-hmm. Because they say growth can only catch up to you if you slow down and reflect. Mm-hmm. And so when I read that, I went, okay, so when I would slow down and reflect, I would write out all my accomplishments. I would write out, okay, why do I think I'm a fraud? Where did that come from? Mm-hmm. Is it a fact? Well, I mean, no, I felt that. Why do you feel that? Well, because when I was younger, this and that. Okay, so it was just an experience that's controlling your life. Yeah. And so when I start to slow down and reflect on those things, then finally my new identity catches up with me. That's what it is. When you don't slow down and reflect, your old identity stays with you the whole time. And it haunts you and haunts you and haunts you. It's
always there in the back of your head. Yeah, that's crazy. That's really good. I needed that.
So just know you're killing it right now. Just look back at your past, where it stems from, and slow down and reflect on it, and just, you know, forgive your parents for saying that. That's a big thing. I say write a forgiveness letter, like to yourself, saying, I forgive you guys for saying that it wasn't realistic. I understand you were doing the best that you could with what you knew.
Right.
And
that's all it is. Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So you just know that I forgive you for that. I understand it and stuff like that. And thank you for everything you've done. And then you can read it out loud, and then you burn it, and then you just let it go. And you'll notice it's just this healing comes from it. And then slowing down will be easier. Being more present will be more easier. The imposter syndrome will be weaker. And then every time you share about it, you don't wear it, and it won't wear you down. And then people start to say, I have that too. And you're like, hey man, talk to me about it. Yeah. And then every time you help somebody out with it, you notice it just heal more and more.
I already feel better, man. Because that's like really the first time I said it out loud with somebody else looking at me. Yeah. I definitely needed that. And because like there's some things that I want to, there's times where I would go do a job and people would, you know, oh, what's the budget and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, it's $2,500. And I'd be thinking in the back of my head, I was like, damn, am I worth that? If I take that job, am I going to be $2,500 worth of an experience for them? Am I going to deliver a $2,500 quality of video? And this, that, and the third. And it's just like, damn, no, ask for less. All right, yeah. And I start negotiating myself. Yeah. Like, all right, $2,500, I'll do it for $1,000.
Right.
All right, I'll do it for $500.
That's real.
And it's so real. It's kept me from making thousands of more dollars because I don't want to seem like the more I ask for, the more they're going to accept from me, and I'm going to eventually hit a point where I can't deliver. And I've never actually hit that point before. So it's just like, what is the real fear?
Yeah. And that's the thing too. It's like, sometimes you just need people outside of you to point out like your talent. Because like when I look at your videos from doing video work for like 15 years, and you said how long you've been doing it, I'm like, that's it? Only that many years and you're doing that type of work already? It blows my mind. So it's like, oh yeah, dude, charge that much, dude. Like, cause the quality that you're giving, that's what people charge for that. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a talent that you have. It's a gift that you have. And it's like, know your worth. And I always say, know how much you need to make a month to be comfortable. Mm-hmm. And then these jobs, throw out a big price. And if they don't bite, it's okay.
Yeah.
If you need that money and your life depends on it, that's when it gets hard to stick your ground. But if you don't need that money, you'd be surprised when someone says, okay. And you're like, oh.
It's happened a couple times.
Yeah,
Like,
so
whoa, what?
And then it opens up your mind how you're like, oh, wow. And then they like your work and you're like, oh.
Yeah. And then it just opens up a whole nother fucking can of whoop-ass.
Yeah. And then you're like, all right, $30,000. Like, whoa, chill out.
Looks like these batteries about to die. So let's wrap it up. So, hey, man, we appreciate you guys rocking with us on this podcast. This is a long one, but we had a really good conversation with my boy Fausto. I'm gonna have him back more often because these conversations they help me out rather than just
free therapy, sessions.
Free therapy for me. So we appreciate you guys rocking with us, man. Please make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit us both up on Instagram, tap in with us, ask us some questions, and let's keep it going. And hit us up in the comments. Let us know what y'all want us to cover, topics, anything like that. So we'll see you guys in the next one.
All right, guys, stay purposeful.
Hey, stay purposeful. I love it. Good send off.
I've been all in my bag. You been all in my business. You be all in your feelings. I've been all in them trenches. I've been all in my bag.